Hey, what is up to all you manga loving faces? It's your boy Shonen Caesar, here to bring you guys another video. And for today, what we have is a reading log of what I read in the month of June and the first week of July. And then next week, when I go ahead and post another reading log, it will be for the second week of July. I don't know how I'm technically going to do this, but I think this might work the best. So to start off this reading log, I want to talk about a one-shot volume printed by Viz. And you guys are probably aware as to what exactly it is just based off of that description and also from seeing my most recent haul, and that would be Death Note short stories. So Death Note is actually one of the first manga I ever read, and I'm surprised that I retained so much of the information. Granted, I haven't read it in over a year and a half. But this volume was jam-packed of a lot of references to the original story, and I believe one of them is a pilot chapter to sell Shueisha on the idea of Death Note. I'll have to fact check myself. I'll put it down here in my little my little subtitles. But this was actually an incredible read. It was a lot of fun. It follows A Kira, C Kira. There is some 4-panel comic, which I personally I'm not really into, but I know a lot of people are, and some of them are actually pretty funny. And then 2 stories with L. And then the last and final chapter in this volume is about Taro Kagami, which I believe is that pilot chapter. But like I said, it was an enjoyable read. I'm surprised by how much I actually remembered from my most recent Death Note read that was over a year and a half ago. And this touched base on so much of the nuance within the story, a lot of the lore, a lot of the plot points, and I just thoroughly enjoyed this one shot. And next up is a volume that I'm sure everyone has heard about. I made a short about it, and that is Bluelock Volume 1. Guys, this is incredible. For a sports manga to get me as excited about a sport I can care nearly less about. I only watch soccer or football, whatever you guys want to call it, maybe once a year, and sometimes not even that, and it's always around World Cup time. And this motivated me to want to go ahead and start looking up maybe the best strikers in soccer, the best highlights in soccer, the best moments in soccer. This touches base on a lot of real life soccer players that defined a generation in their time, and some are still currently playing soccer. And this is an incredible twist on, we'll use air quotes, death game type story, where these kids who have inspiring, or should I say aspiring, soccer careers, and they're trying to create the best striker in Japan to finally win a World Cup. It's insane how good this is, how deep it goes, how fast-paced it is, and if I wasn't so dead set on reading all of my manga physically, I would probably give this a shot in scans, because it was that exciting. I wanted more immediately after I turned to the final page and realized this volume was completed. If you guys haven't picked it up, you probably should. This is an incredible read. So this next volume I'm extremely excited to talk about, as I was extremely excited to show you guys the volumes I picked up from this series in my last haul. And without further ado, without too much delay, I'm talking about JoJos. And the only volume I read of JoJos this month was JoJos Part 2, Volume 1. I read all of Part 1 forever ago when I was trying to dip my toe into JoJos, and I actually read through a majority of this volume on the Shonen Jump app, I believe up to chapter 14, and this one ends on chapter 18, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. This, though, was a different experience, and I preach it all the freaking time. I love, and I mean love, to read my manga physically. Something about it just makes it a completely different experience, sitting with a book in my hand, turning the pages with that suspense of what is about to be on the back of this page, or what is about to be on the next panel. It is such a fun ride, and JoJo's, with how crazy and outlandish it is, makes it even more enjoyable. Now, I don't want to get into too many spoilers, but I will give you literally one. This volume ends with a bang of being introduced to a character that we all dearly love. If you guys are into JoJo's, you know what I'm talking about. But this volume was just so freaking good. And I can't wait to continue to read JoJo's with all the volumes I just recently got. And this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Very nice, Shiza-chan!
Another volume I spoke about in my most recent haul is Colorless Volume 1. So the last time I talked about this volume in my haul, I said I got Batman vibes from it. And after going back and flipping through the panels and refreshing myself with the story, I definitely stand by that statement. So it takes place in a post-apocalyptic colorless world where a cosmic disaster completely stripped color from the Earth, from the planet, and it caused a lot of mutations in the population from it, which is very unique if you ask me. But the main protagonist is a scientist, a very intelligent man who is currently studying color and trying to find a way to use it as energy. Now the main antagonist is a group of villains called the Order, and they give me extreme Court of Owl vibes from the fact that they're running things behind the scenes by controlling politics, controlling the police, controlling the what would we call the flow of information. It is absolutely insane, and this man is just simply trying to figure out where color is, how to get more color. It's a crazy freaking story that from cover to cover, it is jam-packed with action, information, and a lot of freaking fun. And I don't even know how else to describe it. It is a lot of fun. If you guys haven't picked it up, give it a shot. One volume, if it doesn't sell you on it, I don't know if you'll like it after that, because I definitely did get hooked after this first volume. Volume 2 might just be even better, because we kind of end on a cliffhanger. Okay, so this next volume is from a genre that typically doesn't hook me, but somehow this one did, and that volume is Kubo Won't Let Me Be Invisible, Volume 1. So this story follows a student by the name of Junta, who just so happens to be extremely invisible to everybody and anybody. And it's just like his presence. People don't typically see him. So when people see him more than once in one day, they consider it a miracle. But there's only one other character in this manga that continues to see him without fail, and is the only person that seems to be his real friend, and that is Kubo. So this is about a cute little rom-com, little romance between these two students who obviously seem to have feelings for each other, but it looks like they're going to go ahead and tiptoe around it. It has a lot of teasing. So, I haven't read Don't Mess With Me, Nagatoro-san, or, what's the other one? Teasing Master Takagi-san. Like, I haven't read those before, but I feel like this might be fairly similar. So, I believe they're in their first year of high school, and his literal goal is to go through his entire high school career without being noticed, and he's doing a damn good job at it by simply doing nothing. But Kubo won't allow him to just simply float on through his high school years without being noticed, and makes it a point to point him out. The volume as a whole, surprisingly enough, after 3 chapters, I thought I wasn't gonna like it. And as I continued to read, I was like, okay, this is too cute to resist. It is a lot of fun, and I cannot wait to get volume 2 in July. Alright, so this next volume I actually did touch base on in my haul, and I said specifically that I wasn't going to say too much about it, because there is apparently a bit of controversy revolving around it. And that series is Ghost Reaper Girl. Now, Ghost Reaper Girl follows a character who is 28 years old by the name of Chloe Love, who is trying to revitalize her dream of being a major movie star after appearing in a bunch of B-rated horror movies and having a main role in a TV show that honestly did not do very well whatsoever. But it is a very interesting read. So what happens off the rip is Chloe appears to be doing an audition with a director trying to secure a role for an upcoming movie. So what ends up happening after is where some of the controversy happens. The online articles for this volume, or for the manga itself, was extremely, I will personally say, controversy. I read a lot of articles that were just simply butchering this series and making a lot of claims that after reading the volume wasn't exactly true. And I can't say them on camera because they are pretty bad, but it's not as bad as they are depicting. Now, one of the main supporting characters that we get introduced to within the first couple chapters, I believe actually within the first 2 chapters, he can be a little controversial, for sure. But the way that he is described on the internet by these articles, using a certain P word, I can't say I get those vibes from. The gentleman is just extremely extremely obsessed with his favorite idol that just so happens to be Chloe Love, and Chloe doesn't seem to understand it because she's only a B-rated actor. But the volume itself has a lot of very incredible art, a lot of really cool fight scenes, and the future of this series could be very freaking promising. So from cover to cover, I was completely entranced, wanting to turn to the next page to see what was happening next, to gaze upon the amazing art, and to further envelop myself in the story in a very unique power system that involves spirits and possessions. If you guys are interested in exorcist type stories that revolve around spirits, this is definitely up your alley, so go pick it up. So next up is a manga volume about a character we all know and love, and that is Deadpool Samurai. So this short 2-volume series is fairly mediocre at best, but it gives a very unique Deadpool experience. So if you guys are a fan of the Deadpool movies, the Deadpool games, the Deadpool comics, anything revolving around Deadpool, you're going to take something out of this. You're going to enjoy it for a certain reason. And this volume definitely made me enjoy it a little bit more. I was afraid after the first volume that it wasn't going to be worth it. And after the second volume, I realized, okay, if it's only going to be 2 volumes and it's going to end like this is going to stay in my collection, and I'll probably go back and read it just to have a little giggle here and there, because Volume 2 Volume 2 has a lot of references and a lot of funny things going on that I could not keep myself away from. So if you guys, like I said, are a fan of Deadpool and you're looking for a unique Deadpool experience, this is for you. So this next volume really does not need any introduction, because I know you guys have probably heard about it all over the MangaTube sphere. And without any introduction, let's talk about Sakamoto Days Volume 2. Sakamoto Days has been a very entertaining and fun ride, and Volume 2 gives us a little deeper look into how badass Sakamoto actually is. So in this volume, it follows him and his family going to an amusement park for a family vacation, and of course, things go awry. We get to see Shin show off some of his assassin skills, fighting against a man trying to assassinate Sakamoto, and we get to see what Lou is all about. She had some hidden talents that we literally knew nothing about. And this is the first time we get to see Sakamoto get serious, and the man plays no games. It was extremely entertaining from cover to cover, and I cannot wait to see what is next from the series. From when I was reading it weekly on the Shonen Jump app, I stopped, I believe, on chapter 16, which is towards the tail end of this volume. So the last couple chapters were completely new to me, and I loved them just as much as I did my original reading through. I can't wait to see what's next from the series. I can't wait for Volume 3. I can't wait to experience some new content that I literally had not read before. And Sakamoto Days is unique in the sense that it is a very balanced manga, from comedy to action to a bit of slice of life. This manga does it all, and it does it all very freaking well. The next volume on the list of manga I read this month is Mashal Volume 6. Now this volume was incredibly entertaining, and I can't say it enough. The vibes I get from this series is like if Saitama went to Hogwarts, and I can't describe it any better. So at the beginning of this volume, we pick up exactly where we left off from Volume 5, with a slight altercation between Rain Ames and the prefect of Orchidorm, Margaret Macaron. And immediately after that concludes, we get straight into what is probably going to be the best, or if not one of the best arcs in this series, which is the Divine Visionary Selection Exam, which gives me some really deep, like, Chunin exam vibes, and I'm loving every freaking second of it. Without fail, this manga continues to keep my attention, continues to keep me flipping pages, and makes me wanting more every time I complete a volume, and I cannot wait when a volume comes out. Volume 7 comes out in July, and I'm going to be reading that upon arrival. I cannot wait. This next series is a series I'm extremely passionate about and just got an anime adaptation early this month, and that series is Call the Night. Volume 8 was dropping information bombs that we didn't even know were information bombs. We learned a little bit about a character that we only got a hint towards if it's who we think it is at the end of the volume, and you're like, holy crap, what in the world did I just read? And makes you flip back after reading it completely to refresh yourself with all the information it gave you, to remind yourself who it could possibly be. This volume and this series continues to blow me away. When I have a low moment, I know it's going to be followed with a big information drop, and every volume does an incredibly good job of leaving on a cliffhanger that makes you wanting more immediately. Volume 9, I don't know when it comes out exactly, but it's gonna get read the moment it shows up on my door. I'm telling you, Call of the Night is probably one of the best, if not the best, rom-com mystery story that I've probably ever read, especially since I'm not a fan of rom-com, and this is the one that got me into rom-coms. You guys gotta pick it up. Next up is a series that needs no introduction, and that series is Chainsaw Man. Volume 11 closes out what is gonna be part 1 of 2 parts of Chainsaw Man. And the ending, I can't say was the best, and it also wasn't the worst. We don't exactly get a full conclusion, but I guess that does make a lot of sense because we are getting a second part that should be getting released, the first chapter at least, on the Shonen Jump app like this month, I believe. This series was incredible. From cover to cover on every volume, it leaves you wondering what was going to happen next, trying to regroup yourself from all the information you just absorbed, and trying to understand what the hell just happened. Tatsuki Fujimoto's writing style is incredible in terms of suspense, in terms of action, in terms of jaw-dropping twists and turns. It doesn't get better than Chainsaw Man Volume 11. Chainsaw Man as a whole was an incredible ride, and I can't wait to experience Part 2. Now, another series that needs literally no introduction is Jujutsu Kaisen. Volume 16 picks up exactly where we left off from Volume 15. There's a lot going on, the Shibuya arc just recently concluded, and we jump right into what's next. The character known as Chozo in this volume gets a lot of development and makes me really crave more of his story. Along with that, we get introduced to a character from the Fushiguro family, and we get reintroduced to a character that we haven't seen since Volume 0. And if you guys know who I'm talking about, you know who I'm talking about. This volume, like many of the battle shonen that I continue to pick up, from cover to cover, keeps me so intrigued and so invested in the story, and Jujutsu Kaisen is without a doubt one of the best I have been reading recently. It is just so much fun, and it gives me everything I want from a battle shonen. Good characters, a good story, really good action, a lot of plot development. Like, it gives me everything. It does a lot of basic shonen tropes very freaking well. If you guys aren't reading Jujutsu Kaisen, give it a shot, because I know a lot of you guys aren't, or you don't feel like it's up your alley. This stuff is good! So let's jump from what I would consider very basic battle shonen to something that is considered a very unique shonen, and that is Dr. Stone Volume 21. This series continues to keep me very intrigued with where it's going, and the fact that it is currently over in Japan. We're just waiting for the releases over here in the States. This story is just so good. Dr. Stone is very unique in a sense that it doesn't rely on the typical shonen tropes to get the story across. The main protagonist, Senku, does not rely on his battle prowess to get what he needs. He relies on his intelligence and the power of science. He's not looking to be the best scientist in the world. He's not looking to conquer the world. He's simply shooting to understand what happened that sent all of them into a 3,000-year slumber, which was the petrification beam. He's simply trying to figure out where it originated from, what caused it, who did it, and how to reverse it for the entire world. From Volume 1 to now Volume 21, I've been so intrigued and so entranced by the story, by not only how unique it is, by how amazing the characters are as well. If you guys aren't reading Dr. Stone, definitely get into it. Especially if you're looking for a very unique shonen manga that doesn't rely on the basic shonen tropes that you see in everyday manga today to get its point across, to get the story progressing, and to have a freaking good time. Alright, so next up is probably my favorite ongoing shonen. And this may be a shock to a lot of you guys, but that is Black Clover. I read volumes 28 and 29 this month. I read the volumes the moment they show up on my doorstep, but I always give myself a reason to go back and read the previous volume to refresh myself of what happened and also to give myself more content of Black Clover to read every time a volume gets dropped. In Volume 28, a select team of magic knights and captains are formed to journey into the Spade Kingdom to attack the Dark Triad and save its citizens from them. Along with going to the Spade Kingdom to address the Dark Triad, they are also trying to prevent an event that is unlocking different gates to hell, releasing demons onto Earth to cause absolute and complete destruction. And as you can imagine, with that type of description, with a pretty basic battle shonen, I would say, there are a lot of fights and a lot of really good fights. A lot of action, a lot of plot development, characters are just going freaking wild, and it doesn't end. From cover to cover, it just goes insane. Then in Volume 29, the action does not stop. In fact, I feel like it picks up even more. One of the demons are released at a rate that they weren't expecting. They came a lot sooner than they thought, and they had to address it immediately. So some of our heroes from the Clover Kingdom are having a hard time dealing with these events, having a hard time dealing with the Dark Triad, dealing with these demons, and addressing everything that is going on over at the Spade Kingdom. From cover to cover, I keep saying this, it kept me interested, it kept me hooked. I couldn't put the volume down until I completed it, and immediately after putting it down, I just wanted more. Volume 29 was incredible and ends with one hell of a sequence I literally cannot wait to see in Volume 30. Black Clover continues to blow me away, and if you guys aren't reading it, you guys need to. And the last series I read this month was To Completion, and I talked about it in my last haul video. That was Fire Punch. Volumes 1 to 8 complete the series, and I say it every time I talk about Totsuki Fujimoto, his writing is insane. It's crazy to think that in 8 volumes, so much could happen, so many twists could ail me, and I would actually be confused almost at the end of every volume. Now, Fire Punch isn't groundbreaking, but it is an incredible read. From Volume 1 to Volume 8, I couldn't stop myself from picking up the next volume to find out what happened next, to see what was going on, to see what our main protagonist, Acne, was going to do next. The story was incredible. So much so that I actually want to talk about this some more outside of a reading log. So, you guys tell me, would you guys like to see a full review of Fire Punch? Because this story was incredible. So that does it for the reading log of June in the first week of July. I've been sitting in front of this bookshelf for an hour. You guys won't see that, but I've been here for a while. I'm so glad I was able to finally read Fire Punch after waiting so long to get it completed, especially after I enjoyed every step of the way that was Chainsaw Man. All the volumes I read this month were so much fun and incredibly entertaining that I literally would suggest every single one of these volumes to you guys, because I have a feeling that you guys will enjoy just as much as I did. So I got a question for you guys. The question of the day today is, what have you guys been reading? Let me know down below. Give me your recommendations, because I am thoroughly curious as to what you guys enjoy reading and to see what I can add to my collection. So thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching the video. I've been having so much fun making these videos, and as you can see, I'm continuously changing things up, experimenting, trying to make these videos more entertaining for you guys, and I'm enjoying every step of the way. So without further ado, let's go ahead and close this reading log out. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think of the video. Share the video to your friends, especially if you feel like they're going to like this content. And like always, I hope you guys have an amazing day. Peace.